What up, YouTube fam? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're having a great start to your week. So today I want to talk about how I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, going to a predominantly white school. Then towards the last years of my high school, living in a predominantly black neighborhood and going to a predominantly black school, and how that really affected me as a kid growing up and who I am today. So let's go ahead and get started. So Maya in 2012, 2013 would not have looked like this. She would not have worn a dashiki, these earrings, or had my hair like this at all. She would not have. Grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood where it was it was middle class, but in my opinion it was very bougie. School was very up there. It was like fast learning. You get it, you don't, you don't. Ask the questions if you have to ask the questions. We're going to keep moving type thing. It wasn't until my sophomore year in high school where I was really like looking around at my AP classes and I was like, where is my people at? How come there's only one of me or two of us in this class? Why do we only spend a week learning about African American history? Why do we only spend a week learning about anything that's not European history? Why is it only a week? And so that question never came up until my sophomore year in high school. So imagine how many years I was in school, right? Never even occurred to me. My friend group consisted of white, Indian, Asian, maybe one or two black people. So I never really hung out with people that looked like me anyway. So I was always used to being around people that were different from me, different cultures, different countries, and I loved it. Going to Chicago, I'll never forget, walked out of the car for the first time and I was like, I'm around all black people. Like, this is it. And I was really shook for a while and I was like, okay, well, let's go to school. And I remember we met, one of the girls I met, she sat me down and she says, I want to teach you all Chicago slang before you go to school. I don't want you looking crazy, I don't want you being made fun of, and I don't want you anything. Because she told me, she was like, you're gonna get made fun of for probably about a good week because you talk different, you dress different, and you just are different. And I'm like, what does that mean? And she was like, you're nice for a black person, you're not tough, you don't have that toughness that some of us women have. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She was right. The first week I arrived to DuSable, I wasn't bullied or nothing like that. No. But the first time I said hello, they were like, oh, you say hello differently. And I'm like, in my mind, like, what does that mean? And so one of the girls was like, you really speak proper. She said proper. And she was like, she said, it's just different from how I would speak. And she didn't say I would, she said how. She said something. It was very different. She was like, how I would talk or whatever. And I'm like, what does that mean? And she was like, and you're really nice for a black person. I'm like, nice. I'm like, is everyone not nice? And so I was very clueless on these things. And then when they started using the Chicago slang, y'all, I'm so glad I had a crash course because I would have looked crazy asking questions literally the whole day. What does that mean? What are you saying and why? Like, what does that even mean? So that was I had a puzzled look for a good while. When I finally got into the rhythm of things and then people knew who I was and how I acted, then it just became the norm. And so it wasn't a thing or a conversation anymore in print. It was very slow paced from what I was used to. I was used to literally in Virginia, we read 4 books, essays, movies, we were on it. It was like this. Where in Chicago, the school that I went to was very slow paced. Books we probably read was 2. And I remember asking my teacher, I'm like, why are we learning, like why are we going so slow at these books? And she was like, well, people they learn differently at different paces and they read at different paces. And so that's when that occurred to me. I was like, man, people learn differently, because I was always being around others who, you know, they didn't show that weakness in class. It was always like, I know the answer, A's all the time. So I wasn't used to that. I was always used to being around like these type of people, which was fine. And you know, now I know everyone learns differently and I learn differently. I'm a very visual learner. I learned that in Chicago. I'm like, I'm a visual learner. What you just told me, I didn't understand anything. But in Virginia in school, that never occurred to me because we were always moving so quickly. Not to say the teachers didn't care, but we were just moving that fast. Then in class, you know, we learned a lot about African American history, and y'all, it wasn't for just a week. It was for like a whole year. Okay, it was a whole school year because I went to an Afrocentric school too. So it was really cool to learn about Africa, spend time there, learn about the different history, the culture, the clothes, everything. My hair became different. It became more natural because I wanted to look like the other women that I saw on the streets. Their hair was all, now not nappy, but I'm talking about the ones who actually did their hair. Afro, everything, edges laid down. Like, I'm talking about the works. And I wanted my hair to look like that. So I quit my hair from being relaxed, and I became more natural. And the way I spoke became different, the way I thought became different, the way I dressed became just a little bit different. Chicago really taught me a lot about black people in general, because I was around black people all the time, so I heard all the stuff, the stereotypes, the microaggressions, the struggles, the problems, everything you can think of, I learned. And so now my mind became more open to these things, and I was like, man, this is what it is. Virginia, I didn't learn that because I wasn't around that. So I learned about different problems or social problems because it was different people. My music changed, y'all. I still listen to pop music, and I love pop music, but hip hop really became a thing for me because 107.5 WGCI, man, was my station, and I loved it. I loved the different music. And then dancing became different because I learned about African dancing. My brother went to an Afrocentric school too, so I saw African dancing. Like, I just saw a lot of new things that excited me, and I was like, this is amazing. I want to be a part of all of it. I have to. So, and now how has these two experiences shaped me who I am today? Now, I'll get into it next week, but college really played this role of me living in Virginia and Chicago, combining that together, and now I was able to see both sides. So if there was issues going on, I wasn't one-minded or one-sided on anything because I had experience from both sides, both parties, and I was able to use those experiences to share my ideas and my opinions, and make small changes here and there. Because without that, it wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be wearing this. I wouldn't be wearing these earrings. My hair wouldn't be natural. It just wouldn't. I wouldn't be more cautious now when I'm in a work environment. Am I the only black person here? Yep. Okay, cool. It doesn't bother me because I'm used to it. But I'm also aware that I am the only black person. Now how can we bring more people that look like me, or just people of color in general? How can we bring more people in now? Because I'm more socially aware now. Because in Virginia, I never paid attention to those things until high school, but that was later on in my school years, So, yeah, that's a little bit about me, where I grew up, how I grew up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this made sense, but I'll talk about how I combine those two next week in my part 2 of this series. And as always, dream, motivate, create, whatever that looks like in your life. Let's keep pushing each other towards positive results. Let's keep moving forward. And I hope you guys are having a great week, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!